Hey Tony, it's Friday. And first off, to answer your question of the week, I don't really know. I can't really think of any mythical individuals or historical figures that I feel even remotely related to. So I really don't have an answer for you on that one, but I suppose that's part of the reason why the question is there. So what I want to talk about this week is actually a little bit different than usual. It's actually going to be my turn to talk about a game for once and not yours. I might be a little harsh there because I have talked about games before, but this one I think actually needs to be talked about a little bit. So, one thing that we've started doing with our friends is a game called Masks the Next Generation. So, what it is your teenage superheroes, think Teen Titans, Young Justice, something along that lines, but your teenage superheroes trying to find your way through the world, trying to deal with all the drama that being a teenager involves and deal with, superpowered villains on top of it. This system is absolutely fantastic. Taylor fell in love with it, showed it to me. I've fallen in love with it. It's so well done because it's all about your character. Unlike other games where, it's stat blocks, no, this is all your character. It's almost completely roleplay. There's very little dice rolling, but it's absolutely brilliant. But it also brings an interesting question to point, and that is more or less the philosophical benefits and disadvantages of being a superhero. Now, superheroes, by their very definition, are anti utilitarian. Utilitarianism is doing the best thing you can for the most people, and therefore to benefit the most people that you can. And the interesting thing about superheroes, the reason why I say they're anti-utilitarian is because we'll use Batman for an example because he's someone everyone knows. Who's Batman's greatest villain? The Joker. Who has killed countless individuals? The Joker. Who's still alive? The Joker. And that's because Batman, who in his own right represents capitalistic society, a rich person doing what they can to help others, he refuses to kill the Joker. And that's a defining character trait for Batman is he refuses to kill. That was passed on to Robin and Nightwing, and things from there. And you have to look at it at a certain angle. Now, obviously, killing is wrong. I don't think there's any debate on that. But there's a certain argument to be made that if killing one bad actor creates the greatest possible outcome for the most possible people, then as a superhero, you should do that. But that's not what happens. You see most superheroes, and I mean superheroes, not anti-heroes, not supervillains, and not, somewhere in between, they refuse to kill. And that's so many times a defining character for so many heroes. You look at the Netflix series. Daredevil refuses to kill people. Luke Cage refuses to kill people. Jessica Jones has killed like one or two people. Now I haven't watched season two of Jessica Jones, well, all of season two or season three, but the one person that Jessica Jones definitely kills is Kilgrave. Spoilers from a 4-year-old show, but it's because Jessica Jones did what she thought was best in that situation. And it ended up impacting her in for what I've watched of season two. But it's also kind of interesting to kind of look back, and I'll particularly focus on my character. My character is the Innocent. So what the Innocent is it's a character from the past who jumped into a TARDIS essentially and ended up in the future to see a dark version of themselves. And basically, like, their big trait is, I don't want to be like that. And so, of course, the DM's going to push the situation of trying to make you turn into that, whether it be saying how great they are or setting up into the exact same situations that your future self went to. But it's a fascinating character archetype, because there's so much in there. You go in as essentially, so to kind of backtrack a little bit, Masks is all teen superheroes. So you, as a teenager, see your future self, whether it be a villain, anti-hero, or something in between. And your defining thing is, I don't want to be like that. And so you have to figure out a way to either avoid that, or the DM and you have to basically go down the very steps that your future self did to kind of go with the point of the future is set in stone, except when it's not. But it's a really interesting archetype, particularly with my character, because so the character my character's name is Bishop is a past self of is essentially a Batman gone dark, named the Rook. Now, Rook is a killer. Rook is cold. Rook is dismissive, but he's also one of the best heroes that the world has had. The problem is Bishop doesn't see it that way. Bishop sees his future self as a murderer, a monster, and someone who's cold, someone he never wants to be. Which also leads a little bit into the philosophy of superheroing, in which technically what Rook is doing is probably best for the most people. But Bishop doesn't see it that way, and it leads to an internal struggle that you see a lot of superheroes deal with. So Tony, my question for you is, who's your favorite superhero? My favorite is Spider-Man, but I've been thinking a lot about superheroes lately, and there's a lot of fun philosophical discussions you can have on what being a super means. So Tony, I will see you on Tuesday. Later, bro.